Well, greetings, friends. This is Steve from over at the Meadow Drive Baptist Church. Come to you today with the Unstoppables broadcast. Why Unstoppables? Because Philippians chapter 4, verse number 13 says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. And I'd love for you to get a hold of that attitude. I'd love for you to get a hold of that idea and realize you can do a whole lot more than what you're doing. You can accomplish more, you can do more, you can achieve more. We get comfortable. I say it so many times. We get comfortable where we are in our lives, and we just, we get to a level that we're comfortable with, and we just sort of coast, just sort of go along there. And I just want to kind of encourage you to have a great life and enjoy life. If you don't do anything different but have a great life and enjoy what you got, I'll be happy for you. But life is good. Life is good. And, we have tough times sometimes. Different things arise from time to time. But obstacles, somebody said the bumps are what you climb on. And that's true. It is. You have problems. You have things that come up. You have things that, looks like something might be going to be bad. But it's going to pass. My pastor, Brother LeGrand, down in Birmingham, used to say his favorite verse was, this too shall pass. Whatever happens in your life, this too shall pass. Don't let it be some great big obstacle that stops you. It's just another door, another phase, another aspect, another gate you got to go through. And so, think with me a minute. I want to talk to you about David. I don't really get into preaching a lot on here. It's really not my purpose, but I can't help it sometimes. Something I was thinking about David when he went to the fight with Goliath, and if I was to title the message, I'd title it, Who's Your Daddy? Who's your daddy? You see, David went to see his brothers, and I've talked about this before, but David went to see his brothers. I'm going to tear his chair up one of these days. David went to see his brothers, and he brought them some food, and when he came, he came there, and he brought them the food, and they're supposed to be in battle. Now, David does not know it, but this day is going to change his life. This is the day that's going to change his life. But he's been faithfully doing what he was supposed to be doing up to that day. And that's the way it's going to be in your life. You just keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. You keep doing right. You keep growing. You keep maturing. I would rather be ready for an opportunity and not have the opportunity come than have the opportunity to come and not be ready for it. So here's David. He gets up this morning, and he goes to see his brothers. A day like any other day. Nothing really special that he thought was going to happen that day. And yet, when he gets there, he realizes that he's got to make a choice. And life is full of choices. If we make right choices, we'll have a great life. But, don't miss the small things that lead up to the big things in your life. The seemingly small victories led David to the big victories. He's out there keeping the sheep, and a lion comes and he saves the sheep, and then he kills the lion, and a bear comes and he kills the bear. And those little steps led to a big step. Don't think that all of a sudden one day greatness is just going to come knocking at your door. Don't think one day all of a sudden, you're just going to step into greatness or step into a great ministry or a great job or a great position. You got to be faithful in the little things. And as you are faithful in every little battle, because see, the little battles are the big battles. If you win the little battles, you say, well, it's not that important. It's not important that I get up and go to work today. I can call in sick. You've used up all your sick days. Well, I'll call in dead. I don't want to go to work today. If you keep doing that, you're not going to have a happy and successful life. You've got to keep plugging it. Sometimes you just win by showing up. Just being there. But we've got to be faithful to the process. We've got to be faithful to just keep on going and keep on doing what we're supposed to be doing. But listen, the negative side of life, if you want to call it the devil, there are no rules of engagement with the devil. You can't make rules with the devil and make a pact with him and he's going to keep his bargain, because he's not going to keep his side. What happened with David? He went out there and he heard Goliath, and he didn't see him. He heard him before he saw him. But Goliath's out there, and David hears him, and Goliath is saying, "Hey, if you Israelites, if y'all will send a champion out, and if he wins, we'll be your servants." But if I win, y'all be our servants. Y'all want to do that? And nobody would take him up on it. Why? Because they knew he wasn't going to keep his bargain. And in fact, when David does go out there and David does kill Goliath, the Philistines, they don't say, oh, well, we made a bargain, we'll surrender to you. They all took off running. Look, the devil's not going to keep his bargain with you. He's going to lie to you. And then when you do what he says, he's going to step back and laugh at you. You know, I got a dear friend, Robert Luter. Robert helped us start the church. Robert's a great guy. And I told Robert one day, I said, can I use you as an illustration? He said, man, you can use me as an illustration anytime you want to. And so Robert and I both had a background of when we were away from the Lord, we had a problem with drinking. And so I said, you know, here's what the devil does. The devil will come to you and you say, I'm a Christian, I'm saved, I'm on my way to heaven. And so the devil comes to you and the devil says, hey man, you know, you're saved, you're on your way to heaven, go ahead and take a little drink. You know, just take a little drink, it ain't gonna hurt a thing. You ain't gonna lose your salvation, man, you're saved by grace. You're saved plus nothing, minus nothing. You're saved by grace, no works involved at all. There's nothing, no sin can separate you from God. And so finally, you know, you just like, pop a top again, you know, and here you are, and the devil steps back. Then he goes, you call yourself a Christian? You're doing that? He's not, he'll tempt you, and then when you fall, he'll mock you. He'll make fun of you. So just don't listen to the devil, okay? Don't listen to the bad side of your nature. Just try to do what's right. Try to do some good things. But, you know, here's David, and he comes out there, and he's out of the blue. He's talking to his brothers and he hears this guy. Now, I don't think David saw Goliath at the beginning. I think he heard him because somebody, when he was running by and everybody's fleeing, somebody stopped David and said, you know, David said, I'll go out and fight that guy. And one guy says, have you seen him? In other words, I don't think he could see him from where he was. So he heard him. But you see, it's not the size of the enemy. What is it saying? It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. It's not the matter that Goliath was big. It's not how big is Goliath. It's how big is David's faith. David didn't need to see Goliath. He didn't need, because he's going to fight for the glory of God. I fought this little battle, and I fought that little battle, and I fought this little battle, and lo and behold, here comes the day of a big battle. And so what does David do? David says, I'll go fight that battle. Have you seen him? No, I don't need to see him. Because I'm going to fight. Now listen, I don't know what you're going to face today. I don't know what you're going to face tomorrow. I don't know what the future holds, but I know this. You can make it. I know this. And if you're a child of God, especially if you're a Christian, you can make it because you can trust the Lord. He'll strengthen you. He'll help you get through some things. And you can make it. It don't matter. But preacher, you just don't know. I told you last week I had a spot on my lung and I still hadn't. I'm going Friday to get it checked. And they're gonna do a PET scan and see if they can find what's wrong with it. And you know, in the back of my mind, I'm tempted to think, oh, this is gonna be bad. You know, this is gonna be bad. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say this is gonna be good. I was cutting up with the Wednesday night crowd last Wednesday night, not last night, but well, never mind. It was a couple of days ago, a week ago, and we were talking about the videos that I put on Facebook and how I cut up a lot on Facebook. And I said, you know, if I ever got cancer, I'd really put a lot of videos on there because I'd want to share my testimony with people who are having a tough time. I would want to share it. And I said, you think I'm bad about putting them on there now? I'd really put a lot of them on there if I had cancer. And Linda, she goes, oh Lord, don't give him cancer. And then I come to find out this week that, you know, I got a spot on my lungs. And I could worry about it, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to work out. It's going to be good. It's going to be fine. You get what you sow. If you sow positive, you'll reap positive. Now, you know, if the doctor comes back and says, Steve, it's cancer, and I'm not going to say, well, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm going to say, well, what do we do? You know, how are we going to beat this thing? You know, I challenge accepted. We'll beat it because I trust that the Lord's going to work things out for good. But here's David. He comes out there and he hears Goliath. And so he speaks in faith. Now, see, David said, I think I got it over here. Yeah, I got it pulled up over here. Let me read something to you. It's David said in 1 Samuel chapter, just bear with me a second. 1 Samuel chapter 17, he said, this day will the Lord deliver thee. He's talking to Goliath. He said, this day the Lord will deliver you to me, and I will make thee and take thine head from you. David said, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to take your head from you. David is speaking in faith. In other words, you visualize it to realize it. He's speaking in faith. He's saying, this is going to happen. Now, okay, let's be real. Now, I had a friend in Virginia, great guy, Larry Honaker. He was in the church there in Virginia. Loved the guy like a brother. We spent a lot of time together. I went with him when they went to deer hunting up in Bath County. And he's a great guy. We were good friends. I moved down here and been down here for 20 years. And Larry got cancer. And I called and talked to him, prayed with him. And, he's a good guy, good Christian fella. And then he was in Vanderbilt. And he was in Vanderbilt, which is close enough. So I said, I'm going to ride up there and see him. I'm gonna ride up there and visit with him. And I said, Brother Larry, I'm going to come up and see you one day next week. He said, Brother Steve, you come on up here and have prayer with me. You can come up and see me. But he said, don't you come up and pray. And if you come up and pray, he said, don't you pray any of this as the Lord will heal me. He said, we're going to pray that the Lord will heal me. That's what I'm trusting God for. And he trusted God for it, but he died. And so a lot of times we think, well, this thing of trusting God means you're just going to get everything you ask for. Well, it's all going to work out. I mean, he was delivered from cancer. He was a Christian. He's in heaven. He's not suffering anymore. But sometimes things don't happen like we think they ought to happen or like we want them to happen. But that doesn't mean that God's not still in control and that things are going to work out. But David comes out there and he speaks in faith. He says, I'm going to kill you and I'm going to take your head from you. He's verbalizing it and he's fixing to visualize. He said, this is what's going to happen. Now, if you're facing something in your life, you're facing a trial, you're facing a tribulation, you're facing some sort of problem, when you see that, don't think, well, that's just going to overcome me. No, you can handle it. You're going to overcome it. You speak in faith, hey, I'm going to get the victory over this. Maybe you're fighting with some habit or some addiction. And you think, I'm never going to get the victory over this. If you think I'm never going to get the victory over this, you ain't never going to get the victory over it. But if you believe that victory is there for you, you keep trying, and you keep trying, and you keep trying, and one day you'll get the victory. Man, I remember when I smoked, and I told you about Brad, my buddy, and I were skipping school one day, and we were on Jordan Lane in front of University Baptist Church, and somebody had thrown a pack of cigarettes out, and we ran up there, and I got them and started smoking. I smoked for about 4 years until I was called to preach, and then I quit, but it probably took me, I don't know how long it took, maybe a month, maybe 2 months to quit smoking. And what I started doing, and I tell people that try to quit, I say, here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to decide you can quit and you're going to quit. You make that decision. You make that, I'm going to quit smoking. All right? Now, that's your mindset. I'm going to quit. All right? First of all, starts when you smoke a cigarette, smoke it down only halfway and then throw the rest of it away. Tear it up, throw it away. If you only smoke it halfway, you're cutting down on the tars and nicotines that get in your system, and so you're going to cut that down. All right, so first of all, start off by only smoking them halfway. And then after a while, then throw the pack away. You buy one. I'd buy a pack. And I'd smoke one, and you know how it is. If you smoke one, you're satisfied. And I would smoke one, be satisfied, and tear the pack up and throw it away. And you say, man, that's ridiculous. You're wasting money. Well, I'm trying to quit smoking. And if it costs me that, a thrown away pack of cigarettes is part of the cost, I'm willing to pay it. And it was stupid, but I was trying to quit. And then I'd be at work, and I worked down at Pelham at the time. It's before I went off to school, and I would... I'd tell the guys, I'd say, listen, guys, I'm trying to quit. I'm trying to quit smoking, y'all. If I ask you for something, if I ask you for a cigarette, don't give me one. Okay, man, we won't. And so I'd go along there for a while, and it'd get to bother me. And I'd go find somebody, and I'd say, hey, listen, man, can I have a cigarette? And no, you told me not. Well, I just one. And I could always bum one from somebody. And so I fought it, and I fought it, and I fought it, until finally, one day, now I've been fighting just like that for weeks. And one day I woke up, and I didn't even think about it until halfway through the day that I hadn't even wanted a cigarette. And I fought the battle until finally I got the victory. Now, I don't know what you're fighting. I don't know what the problem is, but you can have the victory. You can win. When Israel looked at Goliath, nobody went out there. You know why? They saw him as unkillable. Nobody said that guy, we can kill that guy. Nobody said that. Everybody said, we can't do it. Until one guy showed up and says, I'm going to do it. That's what we need. We need somebody to show up and say, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get you. When you face that problem in your life, whatever that difficulty is, whatever that thing is that's giving you fits, stand up and fight it. And there are always going to be people that want to send you back to the sheep. There are always people. They can't get the victory. Somebody says it can't be done. No, when they say it can't be done, all they're saying is they can't do it. That don't mean you can't do it. You can have the victory. You can have a great life. You can have a great marriage. You can have a great job. You can have a great kid. You can have a great life if you just believe you can. And so David, he goes down there, and he's down there and he kills Goliath. He kills him and he cuts his head off. Now he knocked him down with a stone, and then he went and took his sword, killed Goliath with his own sword, cut his head off, and took him by the hair and took him back up. But when I say, who's your daddy? David went to see Saul. Somebody, I think it was Joab or somebody, heard David, speaking in faith and saying, hey, I'm gonna go kill that giant. And he said, hey, I'm gonna take you up to talk to Saul, because ain't nobody else talking like this. And so David goes up there to talk to Saul, and Saul says, look, man, he said, you're just a kid. You're just a lad. He said he'd been a soldier, as long as you've been born. And David said, no, I'm gonna go. And so, Saul tries to get him to wear his armor. But anyway, Saul just sort of looks at David as a statistic. He just, he doesn't care anything about him. Don't really know who he is. I don't even think he asked his name. And so then David goes out there to fight. And he goes out there to fight. And first of all, when he goes out there to fight, Saul's impressed. And Saul said, who is that young man's father? And Joab says, I don't know. And then David goes out there and kills Goliath. And Saul says, who is that young man's father? And he says, I don't know. When David comes back, Saul asks him, says, who's your daddy? You see, people don't really care about your life until you do something with your life. People don't really get, you don't see shows about lifestyles of the down and outer. People don't go to school to learn how to fail. Anybody can fail. Everybody's good at life, but they're good at being average. But when David excelled, when David got the victory, then David was able to help somebody else. And really, that's what I'm trying to do. I got away from the Lord. I messed my life up. I was homeless, sleeping on the floor of a locksmith shop. And I messed up big time. From hero to zero. And it didn't take long either. The way down was a lot faster than the way back up. But you can have a great life. And you can be successful. But sometimes you have to verbalize it to visualize it. You've got to see it in your mind and realize I can have the victory. Whatever it is. You put a picture of whatever it is you want on the refrigerator. Put a picture up, put some affirmations up. You're having a problem with something, is I am a winner. I am unstoppable. I can have the victory. Whatever it is, if you'll start changing your mind, it'll change your life. David spent time doing the mundane things. He kept the sheep. He did the mundane things, but he got to know God. And he got to learn to trust God, and then he learned how to fight. He learned how to kill the lion and the bear, and when the big problem came, he was able to overcome it. And you can too. You can have the victory. You can have success. You can have blessings in your life. You can have a great life. You do not have to settle for where you are right now. You can have a great life. You can turn your life around today. But it all starts with you thinking. It all starts with believing that it's possible. It is possible for you to have a great life. And listen, if you've never trusted Christ as your Savior, that'd be a great place to start. Now, the sad fact is, you can build a life without Christ. There are a lot of people that do it. There are a lot of successful people who have built a very, very successful life without Christ. The bad thing about that is, if they never realize their need, they've got everything in the world physically, but they've never trusted Christ. They're lacking spiritually, and then they die and don't go to heaven because they've never trusted Christ as their Savior. And listen, despite what a lot of people say, Jesus is still the only way to heaven. And if you'll trust him, he'll save you and you can have a home in heaven. Then he's on your side and he'll help you with this battle, with this thing called life. Well, friend, this is Steve from over at the Meadow Drive Baptist Church, Steve Andrews. We're at 1000 Meadow Drive here in Huntsville. If I can help you with anything, get in touch with us. I'll be glad to help you if I can, where I can. But listen, you can have a great life. Life is good. You know, I say, make your life good. It's already good. You just got to look at it and realize that it is good. Look at it and realize my life is good, and have a positive outlook about your life. And if you'll do that, what you sow, you'll reap. Well, the contact information is going to come up here in just a minute, but if I can help you with anything, get in touch with me. My phone number will come up. God bless you, neighbor. Hang in there. Do what's right. Keep looking up. Keep your attitude up. Oh, hush. Keep looking up. Keep your attitude up. It's all good, and it's all going to come out good in the end. If it's not good, it's not the end. Just hang in there, and it'll work out. God bless you, neighbor, and goodbye.